After she calmed down, I got a few more answers out of her. Turns out it wasn't just one guy she was sleeping with, rather a total of 3. And they wore protection too, but someone got unlucky and knocked her up. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, I'm going to go over a story titled, I, a 24-year-old male, found out that my daughter isn't mine, and I'm soon to be wed to my fiancée, a 25-year-old female. And guys, this story is all about a guy who's 2 weeks, no joke, 2 weeks away from the big magical day, his wedding, and lo and behold, he finds out that not only is his fiancée and soon-to-be wife a carousel rider, but also that his child isn't his. That a guardian angel, if you will, came out of nowhere and let him know this information. That she was a cheater, the kid may not be his, and you're going to see what he does to make sure, obviously, it isn't his. And then, guys, wait till you see how he handles this thing. And let me tell you, while some things he handles it in a way that I think all you guys will agree with, obviously, there's another part to this, how he handles with the kid that some of you may not agree with. But under the circumstances, you can't blame the guy at all. And once again, it goes to show you guys, we're living in Sodom and Gomorrah 2.0, and how, thanks to the Fness movement, all these gals got to be strong and empowered by hooking up with every dude in town. And that is what we have here. But don't worry, our hero here, who's burned pretty badly, does come out on top. Mostly. So it starts off, it says here, about 1 month ago, an old friend of my fiancé came and told me that my daughter might not be mine. My daughter's 1 year old. She told me that Sarah, this is my fiancé with a fake name, confessed to her shortly after finding out she was pregnant that it might not be mine, because at the time she was sleeping with one other guy. So already ahead of time, this guy's fiancé knew there was a possibility this kid wasn't his, and didn't tell him. And why? Because aside from being a selfish a-hole, she knew this guy was obviously the sure thing who she's going to marry. Remember, they'll cheat and roll in the hay with Chad and Tyrone, the bad boys, but they'll marry the nice guy who they know won't cheat on them and will provide, pay the bills, all that. And you guys have seen this in countless stories. Now that we're going to be married soon, she just couldn't keep this to herself and felt like she needed to tell me. Well, I obviously didn't take the news very well, because everything she said contradicted the person that I knew for 5 years. Faithful, honest, and loving. Wow, did she put on an act for this guy? Or the question is, did he just see what he wanted to see? However, that doubt didn't go away, and I ended up going through with a paternity test. I'm not her father, as you can imagine, and it has broken my heart. I'm still coming to terms with the news. It explains why she suddenly got pregnant, despite the protection I was using. But I just assumed things happen, and that's what it is what it is. He said abortion was out of the question. So yeah, he didn't even think to take a paternity test because, again, he described her as honest, loving, and faithful. Well, you're going to find out, guys, that, it isn't just one guy that she's having relations with, because this dude telling the story, and the other guy, that wasn't enough for her. Strong and brave, or stunning and brave as they call it nowadays. At this point, I'm not sure where to go in life. The wedding is 2 weeks away at this point. Family is coming, everything is paid for. My daughter, who I love, turns out isn't mine at all, and I've been raising someone else's kid. I'm about to marry a woman who I can't bring myself to look at anymore. I'm at a loss, and I'm not sure what advice Reddit can offer, but I don't know where else to turn to. So that's the first part. Now we're going to go through a bunch of updates. But all I can say is this sucks. This poor guy. Right? He thought he was with a great girl. But I want to point out to you that he's 24 years old. Way too freaking young to get married. And I'm going to guess the reason they're getting married at this age was because, they have the 1-year-old daughter and all that. But still. Now, I know a lot of you think that, my grandparents got married when they were 19. Well, that was in the era of your grandparents. Or your parents got married, when they were 19 or 20 years old. Well, again, that was decades ago. Nowadays, most people in their early 20s have the maturity level of a bunch of, high school kids. Really, it's true. This guy needs to confirm this child isn't his, absolutely, even twice, talk to family, and have his exit plan. Talk to a lawyer about regards to, obviously, what he's going to have to pay for the kid, because, obviously, you're going to see his name is on the birth certificate. But consider this dodging a bullet. Because if he married her, that'd take things even to a whole new level of being a shitty situation for him. Now, his update. He says, thank you all for the advice, good and bad. Different perspectives offer some insight as to what I can do. Even the ones that didn't help pointed out what I shouldn't do. All I know is I have loved this woman and her family. The last thing I wanted is a nuclear option. There's a lot to consider. I have 2 weeks at this point to decide what I want to do. He says, I am heartbroken. I don't want to necessarily think about with emotions alone. Rather, this is as though I make another of my large life choices. I am currently waiting on the results of the second paternity test to just confirm the results of the first one before I make any kind of jump. That's smart. I mean, it's bad enough he finds this out before the wedding, and his fiancée is lying, cheating, WHORE, and you're going to see that what I'm saying is warranted in a moment. But also this kid who he thought was his, isn't his child. I mean, talk about just a double whammy in this poor guy. And this is what happens to good guys out there. Even guys that they really think they found a great one. He says, if you still have any additional advice to offer away. I'm still catching up on the messages. There are so many, and I'm taking my time to reflect each one. Another update. He says, I'm sure people would like an update and somewhat of a conclusion to the hurdle in my life. But here's what happened. I read everyone's advice, and a lot of it was very helpful, while others not so much. Some going as far to consider offing her, yeah, that is not on the table. Yeah, not a good idea. You don't need to spend the rest of your life in prison or on death row just to, make yourself feel better. But of course, somebody said that. But for those that did offer genuine advice, thank you. After getting the same result with the second paternity test, I talked to Sarah, and a lot of emotions rolled out. Oh, I can only imagine her waterfall of emotions and drama and bullshit, I might add. She said things like, how can an old friend betray me? I wasn't sure it was yours or wasn't yours. I'm so sorry. How could you not trust me? She was all over the place. So the first thing out of her mouth is to blame the girl that told him, right? This girl kept it secret all this time, which was not cool, but she was obviously in an awkward situation. But at least she told him. And this lying, cheating, WHORE, is immediately her knee-jerk reaction is to shit on the friend that told him this. Or, I'm so sorry, or I wasn't sure. Well, actually, you were pretty sure. You could have told him that you weren't sure. Then she can get some level of respect back. I mean, she was a piece of crap, but she at least told him. But no, she knew her nice guy. She knew a sure thing. This is why he is raising the child, not Chad or Tyrone she's sleeping with. After she calmed down, I got a few more answers out of her. It turns out it wasn't one guy she was sleeping with. Rather, a total of 3. And they all wore protection too, but someone got unlucky and knocked her up. So the dude telling this story, the other guy in question, wasn't enough. That wasn't enough sausage. She had to get 2 additional guys in her rotation. 4 dudes. And I'm willing to bet you there are probably more than that. Stunning and brave. Thank you, Ephesus Movement and the S-word revolution, to swing the pendulum and have gals think they can't be a modern gal without hooking up with every dude in town. It says here, at this point, I should have been furious, but somehow that didn't happen. I had grown numb to the whole situation. So yeah, I decided I don't want to go through this marriage and put everything on hold. On hold? Smack! No, it is over. Nuclear bomb. But I know what he means by this. He says, I plan to eventually cancel everything. Okay. I called my parents and explained what was going on, and they were shocked. Then her parents, the same reaction. I was surprised with how understanding they were with the whole situation. Like I said, they're great people. Their reaction only reinforced this. Well, thank the Lord, her parents were on his side, because that could have made things even more difficult. He probably didn't just get together with her. He probably also was with her because of her family, which happens a lot. Luckily, the wedding was within driving distance from all attendees, 8 hours being the longest drive. The amount of fallout was minimal. Apart from my parents and her parents, no one else knows what's really going on other than the wedding is delayed. So, wedding is delayed, but we're really canceling everything behind the scenes, and I'm heading into the sunset and leaving this bitch. Regarding my daughter, I've come to terms that she's not mine, and any feelings I have towards her were built on a lie. It's not too late to start over. She's still 1 year old. She won't remember me. As painful as it is, I can't see my life continuing with her. In other words, here you go, honey. Go find your Tyrone lover and he can raise her and pay for her. And that is really sad. I mean, really. Of course, he shouldn't have to be the one raising the child and paying for a child that isn't his, but he built that attachment. He built an attachment the second she probably told him that she was pregnant. Those 9 months that the baby was growing in her womb. And then when the child was born, that's terrible. But you know what? He said he's numb. And a lot of these guys in these situations that find these awful things out, they say they reach the point that they're numb. They don't feel anything anymore. It says here, so to wrap things up, I moved out to have some space. My parents said I could stay with them until I can sort things out. I'm waiting on the results of an STD test, which should be coming in tomorrow. Yeah. That's the last thing you need. Let him at least have no STDs, for God's sakes. I've talked to an attorney, and she said it's a pretty messy situation. But if we can find out who the father is, it can be very much help the case. I don't know any possible fathers, but her friend instantly knew of 2 of the names. As for the third, she wasn't sure, but knew someone who might. Of course, the friend that told him, which I'm glad the friend told him, knows for sure who 2 of them are. And kept this. On the one hand, that's nice she told him. On the other hand, she's known all this time. You know, so. But they stick together. And I wonder what the reasoning was that she had suddenly told him. Maybe this girl pissed her off or something. I don't know. So this is where I am. I'm not sure where things go and what will happen, but I can only hope for the best. Life sometimes takes a dump on you, but you don't realize it till one person spills the beans. Thank you, Reddit, for your help. I wish I could tell you I'm looking forward to a happy ending, but it's too soon to be sure of anything. So that is the end of that part of his story, and I gotta say that really is a shame. But you know what? A lot of guys would have went ahead and probably married her, or handle the situation differently with the kid and all that. And you know what? If he decided that, you know what, even though I built the bond with the kid and I still want to have something to do with her, I'm not a father, and so I can't say certain things because I don't know what it feels like, but I could say that I'd be done, but other guys wouldn't. And it's a tough situation, but what I would advise this guy to do is talk to an attorney and find out all his options. Because at the end of the day, even though the DNA test says it's not his kid, if his name's on the birth certificate, regardless, he has to pay. You know, because the state sure as hell doesn't want to pay for it. They want someone else to pay. But hopefully they can track down who the father is and all that. And as for her, she's toast. But I'm going to guess that she's 25 years old, still technically in her prime, and if she hasn't gained 100 pounds from having that kid, she could probably still sadly find some other sucker to get involved with her, a single MOM now, and raise that kid. That's probably what's going to happen, because the Tyrone lover that she had, that is the father of this kid, he sure isn't going to be able to pay for the kid. He's probably in another country by now. So I wish this guy the best. Now some comments here to wrap this up. One guy says, the fact that she let the words, "How could you not trust me," come out of her mouth when she knew she had been cheating on you with three other men, at least confirms that you made the right decision. The situation sucks, but you don't have to let uncertainty nag at you or second guess yourself. This was a narrow escape indeed. Forward is the way. May it be better than the recent past. Yeah, exactly. This guy will move on. It's going to take him a long time, but you take it day by day, gentlemen. Whenever something bad happens to you, you will get better. If I was him, I'd spend all the time with the family, the friends, the real friends, all that. Exercise, take care of himself, work out his purpose, his job, all that. And there you go. He will get better in time. The last thing he should do is wallow away in alcohol, drugs, bad food, and get into some very bad, nasty habits, which a lot of guys get into to cover the despair. Another guy says here, the friend is the real MVP. Sorry, OP, and while this will sound useless at the moment, better to have found out now rather than 10 years from now. You're young. You absolutely can bounce back from this. Good luck. Damn right. Yeah, the friend is the MVP, but on the other hand, she knew about this shit all along. We can go back and forth on that. Another guy says here, you made all the right decisions, bro. You will look back on this and be so thankful you didn't stay with her. Don't walk, but run away from her and never accept her back. Save yourself a lot of hurt in the future. Sorry something like this happened to you. Good luck. Yeah, I got to tell you, and I forgot to mention this, guarantee that girl is going to be doing everything she can to get this guy back, because Tyrone ain't going to pay for that kid. And she'll look like a fool. She'll come crying back and give the sob story. I hope he doesn't fall for it. And last one, this guy says, please get a lawyer and dispute the paternity. Since your name is on the birth certificate, you could be on the hook for paying a good chunk of your income for the next couple of decades, and be denied ever seeing her since you've been determined to be not the father. It happens more often than you would think. The state doesn't care that the wrong person pays as long as someone is paying, and right now that someone is you. Anyway, he could have to pay, but not be allowed to see the kid. Imagine that. And again, like that guy said, he was right. The state doesn't give a shit. They don't want to pay. Oh, no. Let this guy pay. And you can have all the evidence right there. I'm not the father. She conned me. We don't care. Pay up. It's unfortunate. So, guys, we're otherwise here. Always wear protection. Always wear protection, that you provide the protection. Dispose of the protection. Don't buy the whole I'm on the pill bullshit. And if you're doing that and your girl gets pregnant, paternity test. Do not sign a freaking birth certificate until you know. Okay? You don't want to be this guy, because these stories are just too common to happen. And before you think, not my girl, well, remember, this guy thought she was loving and honest, and there was another word he used to describe her. I forget what it was, but they were all positive things. Then he found this shit out. And not only, again, was she hooking up with one other dude, but 3 other dudes that we know of. It could have been 10 other guys. Who the hell knows? The neighborhood cat. The neighborhood female cat, the feral cat that roams the neighborhood here, probably hooks up with less cats than this chick was hooking up with. And female feral cats hook up with a lot of male kitties, let me tell you. So, I wish this guy the best. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And, guys, you got a great story you'd like to share that you find online. Email me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I will. And if you haven't checked out my new channel, guys, SSM Clips, definitely do it. The channel's going to have a combination of clips from all these videos I do. Educational moments, funny moments, entertaining moments. Minute here, 3 minutes here, as well as short stories, like I do in this channel, but shorter, 4 or 5 minutes here. That are too small for this channel, because I stick to the longer videos here. But 4 to 5 minutes of an entertaining story you can quick listen to while you're on the go. Definitely check it out. Again, SSM Clips. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.